Hello, and welcome to Replay Value. I think on the surface a lot of people would say that Hyouka Episode 4 is pretty straightforward. There is no one scene that changes our understanding of the characters, themes, or mystery. There's no one scene that stuns people through its brilliance and construction. The closest might be the biking scene, but that's best compared with the opening of Episode 5, so that'll be next time. There's no hidden background element that reveals the truth of the mystery before Houtarou develops his theory or solves it in the following episode. So as I looked over my notes, I didn't have anything to talk about from a thematic or scene breakdown perspective. But there were a lot of small things that when added together reinforce our perceptions of the main cast. Just a heads up that I don't have some grand unifying theory or personal takeaway here. The following is just my various observations on Hyouka's 4th episode, or the art of subtle characterization. The bulk of this episode is the sharing of information and the theories to try and figure out what happened to Sekitani Jun. And normally you'd expect the visualizations to all match each other, since they're all talking about the same topic. But instead, Hyouka uses this as an opportunity to tell us about the speakers. Chitanda's visualization is like an ink wash painting. It's old-fashioned, which reinforces the view of how Chitanda's family participates in society, if the style of the mansion wasn't enough to do that already. The artwork is simple yet elegant, and the use of black and white mirrors Chitanda's worldview to some degree. Like when she states that delinquents will always exist, and that they don't need a reason like money to want to disrupt events. Even the text is handwritten to reinforce the idea of simplicity. Chitanda isn't someone who's trying to obfuscate or be someone she's not. She's very in tune with tradition and is a straightforward person. Mayaka's visualization style is like an abstract anime or manga. It's cartoony almost. The text sparkles and uses a bright red color to highlight phrases, the dust clouds for a fight, the exaggerated movements. Mayaka becomes a part of her story, her silhouette fading into it and becoming stylized like her tail. This sequence obviously plays into her artistic focus. As we see earlier in the episode, she's interested in the cover art for Hyouka, she's involved with Manga Society, and we discover she's doing the layout for the anthology in the next episode. But this doesn't only highlight her interests, they also tell us about her character, specifically how invested she becomes in whatever she's doing, which leads to her big reactions and emotional responses to either Houtarou solving mysteries before her or Satoshi's actions at the expense of her feelings. Her colors are a little bit unsaturated, which is in contrast to her visualization of the defense of Satoshi's information, which maintains the cartoony style while adding really deep colors, giving us more depth as to the degree to which Mayaka is interested in Satoshi. Speaking of, Satoshi's visualization is by far the most boring in terms of data, because that's all he provides. His visualization is like paper cutouts on a page in the most standard of colors as to clearly present the information and to do nothing more. But honestly, this is the standard for Satoshi. He is, after all, the database who can't draw conclusions, which leaves Houtarou, who does draw a conclusion from all of the data, with his documentary film style visualization. The film grain, the projector effects, all of these things give the sense of an old documentary, as though it was shot during the events of the Sekitani Jun incident. This is characteristic of Houtarou's ability to piece together the events as though they actually happened, which is perfect for a narrative like a documentary. Specifically, what a documentary attempts to get out is the truth, or at least a version of it. And therefore Houtarou's theory would seem to be the truth of what happened, or again, at least a semblance of it. This visual style of film projection, even while old school by our standards, is in the universe's timeline pretty recent, which places him and Chitanda about as far away from each other as possible in terms of the timeline for when their styles came about. And that's not the only thing that shows this distance. The biking scene, which again I'll speak to more thematically in my next video, does this amazing job of giving us that distance. When Houtarou and Satoshi jump on their bikes, they're in the city center of a suburb or something resembling that kind of urban style. As they bike, we see packed together buildings and potted plants, but by the time we end the bike ride, the only flowers are wildflowers and the dense buildings have been replaced by sprawling fields. It's honestly so well done in the background of the scene that it feels natural, and only gives a subconscious feeling of distance between the worlds that Houtarou, Satoshi, and presumably Mayaka at this point live in versus Chitanda. There are other small shots like this one, which separate Chitanda and the others in frame, but there's stuff to show how well Chitanda and Houtarou work together, like how Chitanda lays the groundwork for the meeting, and when she starts to slip up, Houtarou refocuses her. How Houtarou only comes up with the theory because Chitanda's effort gave him the inspiration. How Chitanda and Houtarou both give their theories in the same room, while Mayaka and Satoshi give theirs in different ones. That last point also brings the episode full circle, which is a great way to show that we're coming to the end of the episode and to highlight how this theory is going to bring us home. There is one moment in this episode which is honestly so funny to me that I have to bring it up. When Chitanda makes rice balls, there are 3 colors for the different ingredients. As the 3 other characters go to grab them, one of them switches from the color that no one grabbed to the pink color. Mayaka swapped rice ball colors to grab the same type that Satoshi did, wanting to have more in common with him. But perhaps most interestingly, Satoshi grabbed the color that matches Mayaka's eyes, giving a hint that maybe these feelings aren't so one-sided after all. The final moment I want to talk about is how after Houtarou and Satoshi leave, Chitanda walks back listening to the sounds of rain. It's a calming effect, and in another story that would be the intention. But here it serves to create a disconnect between the satisfaction of solving the mystery for everyone else and the sense of dissatisfaction that it produces in Chitanda. Despite this sense of overwhelming calm, she's still unsure about the truth of the matter, the core of her question, why she cried, both being stated and shown in tandem with the water droplet falling from the leaf. Hope you enjoyed. My Megalobox analysis got copyrighted, and I'm figuring out how to handle that in case you were wondering where it went. In the meantime, leave a comment or a like to share your thoughts, subscribe if this is interesting, and check out the rest of my Hyouka analysis series if you so desire. But until next time, thanks for watching.